Welcome everybody to In the Music Room. And Helen, we've got a lady named Lisa Crawford. Do you remember when she contacted us?
Yes, we do. The funny thing is that I thought you were a different Lisa Crawford that we had met in Austin. Right. So, I was like, oh yeah, come on up.
And she's old enough to be your grandmother,
No, I would say probably maybe mother or grandmother.
I'd say mother.
Yeah. Let me rephrase that so I can get it out. She's old enough to be your mother. Wow. I never edit stuff like that out. Anyway, welcome. We're glad to have you.
Thank you for having me.
And you've come to us today from Houston, Texas?
Yes, actually further than that, Bayou Vista.
Bayou Vista. Mm-hmm. That's where you call home?
You're down
near Galveston.
On the bay, right?
Yes.
Yeah, down below Kemah?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I'm getting in the area.
And with you tonight, you brought Chris Elliott.
Welcome,
did. Chris.
Hello, thank you. Hi. How are y'all?
Good.
Chris is quite the guitarist. I've been enjoying hearing him this afternoon, and Lisa too, and warming up on all her music and everything. Let me just throw a couple of things at you, young ladies. Yes. We've been talking on the phone for a while. Tell everybody where you're from, where you were born and raised, and kind of what got you started toward music.
I was born in Pasadena, Texas, and pretty much raised in Pasadena, Texas. I actually didn't start playing guitar till I was 30. But, of course, I did have influences in my life. My father would play guitar in the living room. Of course, he would do it while he was drinking. So, of course, I listened to a lot of Hank songs and Marty Robbins songs. Okay. And then in church, I was exposed to music there as well. There was always this little voice in my head that when I saw somebody playing guitar, it would say, hey, I can do that. I can do that. And so I was about 30 years old, and I was dating someone, and he bought me a guitar from the pawn shop.
Cool.
And so I picked it up, and I had a Mel Bay book on how to, form chords, and I just started playing.
Wonderful.
Kept the guitar, lost the guy.
I did.
At least you got something good out of the relationship, right?
I still have the guitar, yes.
What was it other than him buying you the guitar? I mean, obviously you had thoughts of playing guitar and writing and singing. What brought that all on?
Well, I had written some poetry, I guess, when I was a teenager, and before I had a guitar, I had written some Christian or praise and worship songs, and I just had them in my head, and so I just needed something a segue from what was in my head to out here.
Right.
So when I first started playing, I learned just on hymns, because that's what I already knew, and that was what I was familiar with.
That's what was in your head.
Yes, that was what was in my head. Still is, actually.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Don't forget those.
I know.
And you also write funny stuff that's, let's say, a little controversial.
True. That is true.
Can't wait for that.
You're not getting a full taste of that tonight. You're going to get just a kiss of it.
Well, we'll just have to have her back again to hear
That's right. That's right.
That's a whole different set and a whole different audience. And so
Maybe.
You
never know. You never know. Got to branch that audience out sometime, don't you?
So, other than the church, who were your musical influences?
Well, I guess just the ones that I listened to, it would be country artists like Johnny Cash, Marty Robbins, Dolly Parton, that sort of thing. But I think the people that encourage me the most are groups that just get out there and say whatever they feel like saying, and it's okay with that. Rodney Carrington, he does adult comedy.
Oh, yeah. He's hilarious.
He is hilarious. And so I like that. And, even at times I've listened to some punk rock bands, and just the fact that they have this following, this niche market of people that are following them, and they're out there saying all sorts of crazy things. And so part of me thinks, if they can say it, I can say it.
There you go.
So I just didn't want to be stuck in that box.
Even a Dixie chick can say something.
All right.
Well, it didn't really help her out too
much.
But
she was able to say it, and she certainly got the right to say it.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No doubt about that. Okay, now that's taking us up to your 30, and you're starting, and you're picking up the guitar. What was it that made you write your first songs, or did you? Because you said you were more influenced by doing church songs and hymns.
Well, the first song I wrote and performed was an original. Actually, the first song I played in church was an original with my guitar, and it was, a very short, maybe 90-second song. But I felt the need right then to play in front of people that's how it started. But I pretty much stayed in my what I call my music closet. So I was raising kids. I was at 30, still raising kids, and just struggling, I guess, through life. You know how it goes in that roller coaster. I always wrote, but I never focused on getting out and playing. I would just write at home, force my children to listen to me and my husband. So,
are your kids musical?
My son can sing karaoke, and my daughter can play the radio. So.
All right.
But they're very supportive. They're like my biggest fans.
Good.
So they're very encouraging.
And do you do this full time for a living?
No, I don't. I am definitely a day walker, as y'all put it. So I have a full-time job at a book dealership. I do this just on the side for fun. And I didn't start playing out till 2013.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So sometimes I feel I'm still new at it.
Well, that's all right.
That's okay, because we never stop learning.
Yeah.
Nobody that's ever played or done anything on the road or played in front of people, every audience teaches you something too. Okay, now we've got to where you're starting to write, and you said that was pretty much immediate.
Yeah, right. I was writing immediately. Yes, it's an expression, and basically, I would write, and it was a healing process as well. So whatever I was going through, it was just a catharsis to get some of the stuff out. But then I have a very humorous side too, so I got that side out. And then, of course, when you're in a relationship that isn't perfect, I used a little sarcasm in my music. He used to call them man-hating songs, but they're not quite. I don't play those out publicly, but I have them. I have an array of songs like that.
But maybe you should. Maybe that is a niche you need to be able to carve out and just say, save that to your last set, and then say, okay, all the lightweights are gone. Now let's get down to the serious. Right. It's okay to do that. It's okay to do your comedy and your funny stuff too.
Good.
Like you said, you play to a certain audience.
Right.
So, and it sounds like you've thought about it a lot. About who your audience is.
I do. I do all the time. But I normally find myself playing in dive bars or biker bars. That's where I met Chris, in a biker bar.
Okay.
So,
don't tell me he was out riding his Harley.
No, I was passed out in the parking lot.
I just picked him up.
She almost ran me over.
So yeah, I do. I judge my audience and I play accordingly.
Where do you want to go with your music?
Oh, okay, so that's twofold. So the stuff that you're going to hear tonight is what I would call my more mainstream stuff. And basically, I'd like to have an album cut just because for legacy purposes, because, my children are grown. I actually have a granddaughter. And if I were to,
Wow.
to pass that something on, I wanted to be something good, something with a message. But as far as going somewhere in the marketplace, I would capitalize on my comedy.
We want you to come back, next year and do that comedy.
I will.
Thing. We'll just do a show strictly on that, because we want to capture that too.
Oh, I would love that. That would be great.
So we will.
Well, I just think it's great that you have Chris with you today. For those of you who don't know, Chris is completely blind. He is an awesome guitar player. Obviously, you don't let anything get you down.
Oh, no.
That's great.
He found his way to the backer bar.
That's right.
Yeah.
And how long ago was that when you met Lisa?
Oh, that's 4 years now.
2013, the Papa Blues benefit probably.
Papa Blues. I run a open mic at the Neon Moon Saloon in LaPorte, which is just north of Kemah.
Uh-huh.
And
above Shore Acres.
Right above Shore. Man, you know your way around. All right. Do you have a road map there in front of you?
Yeah,
we have friends.
We have good friends that live down there.
All right. Well, then every Sunday we do something different. It's not the same host band. It's how I get guys from different bands and put together a host band, and we try to make it different, something different. To get back to like music before, you had to rehearse, and everybody had their opinion on what was supposed to make it right and what you're supposed to do and not do. When you were just you and your buddy from school both had instruments, and y'all just get together and jam for the fun of it. It was more like that, right?
Yeah.
And we had a guy that used to come out named Papa Blues. He was a character in himself. Well, he passed on a few years back, and since then his wife has gotten together with me and a couple other guys, and we've had this memorial jam at the Moon in his honor every year. And at the first one, Lisa was there, and I was running the inside stage, and she was on the inside stage, and that's how we met. And her stuff was hilarious. So I made sure to pass out right behind her car so that she would have to talk to me before she left. That's pretty much how that worked.
All right. And how long have you been playing guitar?
I've been playing since I went blind. I went blind when I was 14. I'm 43 now, so it's 29 years, something like that.
All right.
Would you tell us what happened?
Retinal detachment. It's from Stickler's syndrome, which is a side effect of mustard gas from World War I or II, one of the others. I think it was World War I.
You're awful old if that's the case.
Well, no, I know, right? Yeah. I've been my age for about 40 years now. No, it actually affected the genetic, map of the soldiers that were there, and so
wow.
It causes things like nearsightedness, hair lip, cleft palate, club foot, heart, some type of heart arrhythmia, a bunch of different things. And I had several of those. I had the club foot, the cleft palate, and the eye thing. But the eye thing looks like just normal nearsightedness until you realize that it's actually a part of this. What it comes down to is the connective tissues that hold things together is what's affected. So it's not the eye, it's not the retina, but it's what holds the retina onto the eye that it's not working properly. So
right.
It was in my family, but I was the only one who ever really had went the distance with it. So they didn't know what they were looking for until me. And then so my children subsequently have had the benefit of knowing what they're looking for, and they haven't had the same problems. So
good. Wow.
I'm a martyr. What can I say?
Well, you're the only one out of your family that went blind and had these issues. You ought to play the lottery.
I don't. No, if I bet, I lose. I don't bet.
Choose the last number you think of.
That's right.
Is no a number? Because that's usually what I think when somebody says, "You want to bet?" No.
Now you're playing a 12-string Martin.
Yes.
In the show that we're going to record here in a few minutes. Is there a history behind that guitar?
You would think so, but I've only had it a year and a half. Everybody looks at it and says, "Wow, has that been underwater?" It's
the places you play. So.
Yeah, that it could be. That the amount of Jaeger I've spent on it. It actually came through me. Some friends of mine got me a Seagull 12-string a few years back. It just kept having problems, and so I finally. It got to the point to where I was like, look, the integrity of the instrument is no longer there, and I have a 3-year warranty. I want to use it, I want another guitar. And they're like, well, I don't know if we'll do that. I was, well, you sold me the warranty, and it pretty much says that that's what you'll do. So I think that's where we're at. And they sent it off, and they said, well, we'll send you a check. And they sent me a check, and the check was, with what they sent me, I was able to get a Martin with the case, a better deal all around, actually, than what I had with the Seagull. So I said, okay, well, you send me the check, and here comes the Martin. So, and it's a really nice guitar. I like to play them when I do solo acoustic gigs because it fills out the room so
it
much.
Has I like the mids on it. That's on that guitar. The first thing I noticed about it was it just had those nice mids that you don't get on a lot of 12 strings.
No, well,
you know what I'm talking about.
I do, and I think they use a similar design for their 6-string. Because a Martin, I've heard guys pick on a Martin like they're playing on just the best 12 or the best electric guitar ever made. Like Paul Reed Smith or something that just really been in those notes and just all over the place. And I don't see how they can do it, but the Martin does help bring those little.
They didn't get their name accidentally.
So. Oh yeah, true that.
We got a song we want you to hear later too.
Okay, good deal. All right.
So Lisa.
Yes.
Back to Miss Lisa again. Do you find it difficult to balance the two types of music that you're going after in your own mind? Is there anything playing with you up there in your mind about, should I be this far apart, or is that just, it's okay to have both polarities in my music?
What a great question that is. So in some,
give it to you.
I know, right? In some ways, yes, because they are polarized basically, because I can have some, praise and worship type music, and then I have the really other stuff. And so, but I kind of look at it as if that's who we are as people, spirit and flesh, and that's just who we are. And so why do we have to choose one or the other? you know.
No, I'm glad you're doing both.
No, and as a matter of fact, so I'm going to do a song tonight called "Keep Moving On," and in the introduction, I reference being saved by the grace of God, and then we were going over our set list for the biker bar, and Chris was, "Isn't that a little too religious?" And I said, "Well, not really, because in the biker bar, when one of their brothers falls and they're in an accident, they're praying and they have crosses mounted out in their backyard, and so it's just a testament
it's
to
their
that's
own way
right,
of doing things.
But it's still who we are,
right?
So both sides of it, and so I feel like I should be able to do both sides. Mm-hmm. So
and I'm glad you are. In fact,
I want to hear some of it.
I do too. What about the rest of you guys? Y'all want to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to be back here in just a few minutes with Chris and Lisa. How about that?
Lisa and Chris.
Lisa.
You did not know this.